Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for another Talk Magic. And today I am here with one of the, if not the leading illusionist in the UK, if not further afield, a man who has set the magic world on storm recently, and we'll talk about this, has just blown up absolutely everywhere. Like the man when it comes to illusions, and I do not use that term lightly. It is the CEO and founder of Matricks Illusions, the one and only Alex Jesson. How you doing, Alex? You all right, mate?
How you doing, Craig? Yeah, good to see you.
So excited. I'm so excited.
I'm
really excited. I don't get to interview illusionists very often. It's all close-up magicians and close-up magicians. I think the only two illusionists I've ever interviewed are Russ Stevens and Mark Kalin.
Oh, well, there you go.
And that's it. So I'm so excited to actually be interviewing an illusionist. This is so cool.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
And we'll talk about this later on, but as of time of filming, the cat has come out the bag and you have just appeared on primetime television on ITV, setting the world on fire, getting some incredible reactions with an awesome piece of magic on Britain's Got Talent. So, I mean, that's amazing. And we're going to talk all about that.
Finally, we can talk about it. Finally.
Yeah. Well, I imagine there's been a lot of secret keeping from your side for a while now. And
just a bit, yeah.
It's been really frustrating. But I want to, you perform all over literally all over the world. And before we actually get into BGT or Blackpool or anything else, I want to find out a little bit more about your origin story and how you came to be into magic. Because, I joke about not interviewing illusionists very often, but there's not many people these days that go into, there's very few touring illusion acts in the UK. Very, very few. And these days, most people that get into magic, they become a close-up magician, or at the best, they become like a one-man comedy magician or a mentalist or something like that. Very few people go into illusions because of how expensive it is, especially when you look at the scale and the size of the kit that you've got. Like, I've got illusion envy with my tiny little setup compared to what you've got. So I want to find out how you actually ended up getting into magic and how you ended up being like an illusionist, because it is a career path that's quite odd.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I never thought I'd call it a living. You just don't. It's a very pinch myself thing. It was very much a kid. A kid's dream. It was a kid's dream to be on that stage doing illusions, and it's a reality now. And it's funny because it all started off when my mom and dad used to run and manage holiday parks and hotels.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So not many people do, and that they used to take us to see magicians, people like. He's going to feel really old now. Daniel Dean, an act called Bamboozle. Mark and Cheryl. There were who else? Charisma, Visage, who's now Magic Sam, Visage. Who else? Those Celtic Storm, Martin Gardner, who's Magic Martin. They were
Danny Hunt.
No, Danny, I never saw, but it was those kind of magicians, illusionists on the circuit at the time when I was growing up. And I remember seeing Daniel Dean at my mum and dad's hotel they were managing, and I saw him do the sub trunk or whatever. And I remember pestering him afterwards, and I remember I got it bang on. I got it bang on, and he wouldn't admit it to me. But anyway, then we moved, and my mom and dad actually bought their own holiday park. So they actually owned. They stepped away from that company in Newquay. So I'm from Cornwall. So that was in Newquay. Then we moved up to near Weybridge Way and bought our own site. So I was about 9 years old. My sister was about 7. So then they started booking more illusion acts every week. a magic act would turn up, and I would sit there front row. I'd even sit there because I was allowed in the venue when they were setting up, and they would never like it, having a little kid sitting there watching them set up. You know, no one likes that, and that was me. And I was there, and I was, you know, watching everything and so forth. But it's a funny story, and I actually saw it was Bamboozle, Mark and Cheryl, and Mark did the sword box, a variation of it. I can't remember exactly which one it was. And the following day, I thought, I want to do illusions. I really want to do illusions. So before that, I started playing around with magic sets. My mum and dad got me a magic set from Safeway, and I just loved, you know, playing with all the magic set. Anyway, so then the following day, I decided I wanted my sister to become my assistant, because that was the only girl so I was like, oh yeah, come on, Em. And I got her into the lounge, and I got a cardboard box from the cardboard rubbish from the bar and everything. I don't know, it was Chris Bock or so. I don't know what it was. It was a cardboard box. I then put my sister in the cardboard box, and then this is an God honest true story. And I went to the kitchen and I got my mum's kitchen knives, every single knife I could find, and then I started piercing them through whilst my sister was inside the cardboard box. No joke. And then I look, and I then look in at the top. Are you all right, Em? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm like looking where I'm going. And then my mom comes into the lounge. She goes, where's Emily? And she goes, I'm here, Mom, inside the box. And she screams. And I was I was given a good hiding. And anyway, so the following week, she pulled Mark aside and said, look, you've got to speak to him. I'm really not happy. Poor Mark, he had a telling off by obviously like this venue owner he goes to. And he pulled me aside and told me, look, you can't do that. It's not, you know, and so forth. And anyway, he took me under his wing, as well as people like Daniel Dean and Martin Celtic Storm. But at that time it was Mark. He took me under his wing, and my birthday that year, Mum and Dad gave him 150 quid, and he then went out and bought me a dippy duck, a change bag, 20th century silks, a collapsible wand, what else, a chip pan, little chip pan, and I think a deck of cards. Anyway, it was a selection of stuff, and this was, in my eyes, proper magic. the fact that this kid, I'm a kid, I've got proper magic, not just magic from Safeway. Do you know what I mean? This is proper magic. And so then I put Matrix together. Literally not far after that, I called myself Fireball, which is really funny. Before then, with just me on my own, for a couple of months, and I had a poster made. But then we put together Matrix in 2003, 2004.
And how old were you at this point?
I was about, I reckon I was 8 when the whole cardboard box thing happened, and I reckon I was 9. I was definitely 9 when we put Matrix together.
And where did Matrix come from?
So I wanted to call it Magic Tricks, and that's not very good. We were, I remember the entertainment manager and my mom and everybody, we were all in the venue, and we were playing around with it, and we took the GIC out of Magic Tricks, and you get Matrix. Yeah, so Matrix, like Matrix. But then I was like, I don't like Matrix. It just doesn't. Then, funny enough, a film came out, didn't it? Where the film was out, and I was like, oh, that sounds nice, but I won't copy the spelling, but the pronunciation, Matrix. It just sounds nicer. And so ever since we just started been calling it Matrix. Yeah, and that's when Matrix was born, really. And then we got my first illusion, which was a doll's house. That was my very first illusion, was a doll's house. I also got a head chopper, I think, after that as well. But I always love, you know, putting my sister in that. But yeah, the doll's house was my first ever proper illusion. But yeah, that's how Matrix formed.
Did you ever have a desire back then to do close-up magic? Because everybody else, I imagine, that was into magic around about those times, they'd be wanting to do close-up magic or, you know, manipulations or whatever. Yeah, did you ever have a desire to do close-up magic, or was it like, no, I know what I want to do, get me the big boxes?
Yeah, my mom and dad didn't like stage like close-up magicians, so they just booked illusionists. I think it's their fault. Yeah, no, I never did. And do you know what I didn't do? I never went to any magic clubs or anything like that. And that is one of my regrets. I would have loved to have actually joined a club and actually dabbled a bit in close-up and stuff. I do a bit of close-up now when I do the ships and stuff like that. But I tell you, it's strange because illusions has always been my world, and the close-up, as you know, it's a different kettle of fish. It's a different world, and people presume, you know, you can just do both. But it's a really funny thing that, yeah, I think it was probably because I was constantly seeing illusions, seeing these boxes, and I just fell in love with these boxes. You know, I was you know, I remember Daniel Dean used to bring his cube zag, and I was in love with the cube zag. And I remember making a cardboard box cube zag. I literally actually made this like cardboard, but I was that obsessed with it. And funny enough, he then sold me the one I saw at the hotel with the sub trunk. He then sold me that exact one I saw as a kid. Wow. Yeah, and I've got it. I've still got it. I will never sell it. And I've still got it. So it's, yeah, illusions is really very much from a very early age. I reckon when I saw Daniel at that hotel, he the illusions I remember him doing was definitely cube zag, definitely sub trunk. He did the stall levitation. What do you call it?
Yeah.
The Godel stall or something. And I've actually got that one as well off him. The one I saw. So I've got that off him as well. But I saw it, yeah, and I reckon I was about 7 years old when I saw him do that. So yeah, it's been in my blood. Like, it's been in my blood ever since. And but yeah, I do wish I dabbled in close-up at a young age, or with a club or something like that. You know, I never went to a club. I never had that kind of, you know, society feel, you know, which is one of my but that's what happens when you live in the field.
So. I was about to say, you can't really go to a magic club when you live in the arse end of nowhere, but
literally, man, literally.
Okay, so, but here's the thing. So you're 10 years old, you form this illusion act with your sister, you rope your sister into it, and that's all really well and good. But that's the dream of a million kids. You know, oh, I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to do this. And how did you go from like having this pipe dream to be an illusionist, making props out of cardboard boxes, to then becoming one of the top illusion acts in, you know, the country? I mean, I would say at this point, the top illusion act in the country. How did that come to be? Like, you live in a holiday park. Are you being given opportunities to perform at the holiday park, or where
yeah, so
forming Matrix to, you know?
I'll basically, so when we got our first illusion, my mum with the entertainment team then asked them to help put a little show together. So we got the name, we got the Matrix, we got the illusion. They actually put us in leather jackets and sunglasses, which is hilarious. and I come out with a vanishing candle, and oh, it was horrific. Anyway, yeah, so we would do this show actually in the kids club in front of an audience for 20 minutes. So this Matrix show was 20 minutes long, and it was in the kids club at, like, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, to actual holidaymakers, paying holidaymakers. Now, the thing is, you wouldn't get that opportunity if your mom and dad didn't. We're very lucky that because they didn't care. They just wanted us to give us an opportunity to be able to perform in front of people. And it's quite funny because as Emily started to get older, Emily used to be really deadpan faced, and they used to go up to my mom and dad and go, do you force your children to do that? Just because she was so, but yeah, in a way, she didn't want to do it all the time. She wasn't being forced, but it was that kind of like, but then, she had a love of dancing. And that's when we started to add the dance element into it, and she'd come on and do a little dance or whatever. And then this is where we started to then buy more illusions. Then the act went from 20 minutes in the kids club to 30 minutes. And we added, like, what did we add? I think we had a heads off, which was really funny. Two little kids doing a heads off in this great big costume as well. She this adult costume on, like, a, sorry, excuse me.
Really funny.
I know it was a funny thing to see. And and what else was it? Just trying to think what else we had. I know we did get the cube. We did get the cube's egg. Then we got a split press, Guy Barrett split press, and that was yeah, great prop. I've been doing it a while. I got mine when I was 15, I reckon. 15, 16. I've got the original. It was the original one, which I still own. And anyway, so I reckon I was about 15 years old when I got a split press. And the only reason I got a split press is because I was doing all this doing these shows, and mom and dad were, they were helping fund this. If it wasn't for them buying us these illusions, but we were working. I was doing I would do, it would be like my pocket money. That's how they would pay me. I worked the pot wash and the linen. I'd run the linen out, and I'd collect glasses, and I'd do the lights. I would do loads of stuff, and so did Emily. And then they would, like, reward us with these. I mean, the illusions didn't. I mean, that heads off only cost what, 100 quid or something, 150 quid. Yeah. But like, looking back now, like, is
split press isn't cheap though, even when it first came out.
So split press wasn't cheap, and I had I think pocket money, and we saved up for it. It was a big thing getting the split press. It was a big thing, really big thing, and that's where it turned. That's when it was like, I am going to do this now, and I am going to. And we then changed the spot to the then we started alternating with the other illusion acts, and then they let us mom and dad actually let us then become the illusion act for the holiday park. Yeah. And poor customers. So we would then become, do this in front of paying customers, and maybe I was 16, 17 when I got split press. I think I was a teenager, but anyway, it was a big moment getting this split press. I'd saved up for it. We worked so hard, it was a big moment because it was a big prop, and it's a great prop. I still do it now, anyway.
I said the other day that the split press is like the ambitious card to the illusion world. Like, it's just that reliable thing that is going to get a great reaction, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Guy's very smug about it because he knows he's made a good Yeah, a classic of magic right there. But yeah, so then from there, in 2009, we actually did a showcase, which, if people don't know, is where you showcase your act for buckets to come and see. And we showcased this thing in, I don't know, it was Devon somewhere. I think it was Plymouth, sorry, in a hotel. And we did cube zag, we did umbrellas, levy, and the split press. And I found the footage a few weeks ago, and I had to turn it off. It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. But if it wasn't for my parents and that holiday park allowing us to just run with it and put this stuff out, what an opportunity. We were very, very, very lucky to be able to do that, to be able to just have this stage just to perform on whenever we wanted, very, very lucky. And it wasn't until 2009 we actually officially, I think it was when I was 18, officially became a company, like an actual act, shall we say. And that's when Matrix was officially born on the circuit. And then we started getting in, the holiday park circuit, Havens and a few Part Deans, and then they didn't really work as, because it was still a work in progress. But then I was still performing at the holiday park, getting all the kinks out. We were here every week, we were at the park every week, and yeah, it's progressed. So,
and I've always said, working at a holiday park, performing on a holiday park stage, you're going to have to get good quick, because their attitude, your general holiday park audience attitude is, go and impress us then.
They're drinking, they're having a good time. They really don't, do you know what I mean? It's mad, isn't it? What a difference between, if you haven't done a holiday park before, good luck. No, it's great training. Mm-hmm. It's the best training. And when people say, oh, holiday parks, you go, oh, really? Oh, you doing? No, it really does get you. And when you turn up to these places, when you would turn up and you'd have all this kit, and then you go, right, you got to get through that single door up that 3 stories of flights of stairs, and then you're going to perform on, I don't know, a pallet. Mm-hmm. And you go, you've been there, we've all been there. Oh, yeah. And you have to think on your feet. You can't say, I'm not doing it. I'm sure people have, and I know people have, but you just get on with it. And I always got on with it, and that helped as well, because nothing really phases you then. Nothing phases you, because you've done every size, space, angle, turned up to places where we're pretty much surrounded, and I've had the completely wrong show for that and got to go with it. Can't do anything about it. Then you learn how to then handle yourself if you have got, again, all holiday park training. And when I first stepped in my first theatre situation, and then I started shouting at them, and they weren't responding the same way as what I was used to, that was a learning curve as well, because you can't go into a theatre and do your holiday park act. No. But, and that was another hurdle I had to, but again, I was very lucky at a young age to be able to have done that, to then learn those hurdles. And okay, I mustn't shout at these people. I mustn't go, hiya guys, and all this, whatever. And you have to speak in a totally different way. And it's, I learned a lot just because of how young I was when I first, started.
I'll tell you right now, the worst load-in in any holiday park in the UK has to be Treco Bay.
I've actually got, to me,
I've almost broke my neck on that fire escape more than once, like in the rain.
Have you Haven Burnham on Sea? You ever done that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
that fire exit's bad.
Mm.
Yeah. Good luck to people going there. I haven't been doing.
I remember Guy Barrett selling me a second-hand sub trunk. He's like, "Oh, this is an amazing sub trunk. It was used in the circus. It's on a base, so you can have a girl hidden in the base, and then you can do a sub trunk, and you can make another appearance." Like, that's amazing, Guy. And when I went and got it, it was just, I needed a long wheelbase, just one prop, and I didn't have many illusions. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go with it. Getting that thing up that fire escape in Treco Bay almost killed me. Like,
but it's just experience, isn't it? And,
exactly.
Seeing what works and what and that's what puts people off illusions right there. That right there. And I think you've got to really, if you want to do illusions, you've got to really love it. You've got to have, and I think, because of how I started, that it was just in my blood, and that's how I loved it. I still obviously do, otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I love it, and I always will. And I think that's what people struggle with. A obviously the money, B the lugging of, the lugging of the stuff. C, assistance as well, keeping an assistant, keeping someone reliable, someone who you can trust. They're just as important as you. And a lot of magicians, illusionists forget that. They not forget it, they don't know it. They're so important, that assistant is, and I was lucky to have my sister, because we learnt the craft together, and we were, we learned everything together. We created the show together. We did everything together. We knew each other like the back of our hands. We were one on stage. We knew, I had her fall off a ladder levitation, right? And I did something I shouldn't have done. I made a mistake, and the board flipped. She rolled off. Landed really bad. I caught the board because of obvious reasons, just in case if it had flipped, something had come out and might hit her on the head. And luckily I caught her, but because we were so in sync, and the sand lights guy, we went into an arm, she went into an arm, and blackout, and everybody started applauding because it was at the end, and people didn't know it went wrong. But that was, and we didn't, that's just how in sync we were, and we still are now. We still work together now. Obviously, she's just been in the Britain's Got Talent audition. So we still work really well together now. She's very much still a part of Matrix when she can be. She's got a little girl and so forth now, but yeah, it's those key things of an illusionist. If you don't get that right, and you don't have the love for it, just
and I see the close-up guys going, I just bought a trick for £20 and it's terrible, and now I've got to put it in my bottom drawer. Try buying an illusion for 5,000 quid, realizing it's rubbish and it just languishes in the back of your warehouse, and then you've experienced pure pain.
Oh God, I've been there. Yeah, I've had it. Luckily now I design a lot of it myself, and it's all bespoke. So it's my cock off if I design something it doesn't work. But it's funny. Go on.
No, go on, carry on. Say that.
No, it's funny, isn't it? Because if it wasn't for having all your cube zag, your mini zags and your sub trunks and your assistants revenges, and if it wasn't, if it wasn't for those off the shelf things, it's those experiences with those props, you know, allows me then to know what works and what doesn't, because of the, you know, the reveals. And there is still an element when you design something, you go, is it gonna, and here we go, and boom, you know, when we get onto BGT, I'll tell you about some of the stuff that, like, about that as well. It was the first time some of that stuff had ever been in front of an audience, in front of the nation. So, you know, it's Illusions is about taking risks. You know, in my, you know, you got to take risks to be better than, you know, and that's what I do. That's what Matrix is. It's always pushing the boundaries, and it is funny to watch other illusionists and other, you know, other acts. Then you start to see them, you know, either copying or, you know, I'm fully aware, if you're watching, I'm fully aware, you know, what, you know, because there's only so many times you can, you know, so many ways you can appear someone or whatever, you know, so forth. But at the same time, I have built this up, and when you see people copying, you know, and stealing stuff, and it's just like, it's hard, as we all know, you know, and I'm sure it's happened to you, and it's happened to a lot of people, but it fuels me. Actually, it never used to. It fuels me, because I'm like, well, you're a step behind, you know, I've done that, you know, bring out the next thing, or, you know, I'm working on the next thing. The amount of designs and stuff I now have on a hard drive ready to go, you know. But again, you need the money, you need the funds, you need the right show to be putting it in, and you get a contract, you get something in, and you go, oh, okay, that'd be great for that, and then it comes out, and you go, let's build that, or whatever, you know. But that's the stage we're in now, and I'm very.
Well, let me ask you a question, because that is next level. So how did you go? Right, you're 16, 17, 18,
yeah,
touring holiday parks with your sister.
Yeah,
where a lot of illusion acts settle, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's where they end up, and they just do the holiday park circuit, and then they end up becoming a mentalist or something. Like, you know, that's no, it's true. Most retired illusionists, for some reason, become mentalists. But what you've done is you've kind of just like gone, well, okay, that's a good jumping off point. But now I'm gonna, like, Matrix is now like multiple cast members, like more illusions than Mike Michael's warehouse and David Copperfield put together. Well, maybe not that many, but a ridiculous amount of illusions, huge stuff. You build it all yourself, which is a massive step up from most people that are doing the holiday park circuit. Like, how did you go from holiday parks and not settling and instead going, well, actually, now we're going to go to this level?
Yeah, I always wanted to do theatre. Always wanted to do theatre, and I actually got into what you call it, the like end of peer in 2012. It was 2012 at Bournemouth Pier Theatre. I landed a contract, and we would do a show each week at Bournemouth Pier Theatre, and that was big for me. I was like, I'm in a variety show theatre, you know, this is great. So then we started to up it a little bit, because I was like, I need to up my game here, you know, I need to up my game. And that's when things started to kind of, you know, change in a sense. But I was still at, I think I was at college. Yeah, I was at college around about then as well, I'm sure I was. And then we did, in 2014, we did a show called Keep It in the Family, hosted by Bradley Walsh, which was like a game show. And what they would bring an act on, and then the contestants would copy the act. Yeah. So we did, me and Emily did an illusion, the spray illusion, and we did this show, and they then they built another two of them, and the contestants copied, and it was brilliant. And at that point, And what many people don't actually know, I'd only worked with my sister. I never worked with anybody else. It was just me and Emily. It was just a brother and sister act. It was all, in my mind, it was always going to be a brother and sister. But then she got into Lane's Theatre Arts School in London. She was an operatic singer, and she's incredible. And I was like, I've lost my assistant, but I was also a drummer. What again, many people don't know. And I learned at school and college, and I was in, jazz orchestra and stuff. And I got a contract to do to go on the cruise ships, a potential literally to go on the cruise ships. And I was gonna go, and I was gonna pack in Matrix. I was gonna stop, because Emily was going off, and I was like, I'm gonna go jump on the cruise ships. I'm gonna drum because I love drumming. And then, that's when we got keep it in the family. And if it wasn't for that, Matrix could have stopped. And generally, I don't really tell many people that, and that is generally what was going to happen. I was going to go down a different path. Emily was going that way. Anyway, so then we did keep it in the family. She went off to Lane's. I'm like, I need an assistant. So then what we did was we got an we got an extra like staff member, but a dancer for the holiday park. So she then became my assistant. But then when Emily was back, we then had 2 girls. So then all of a sudden we've then got this, 2-girl guy, then, stepped it up again a little bit from them. Then from then, I then started to get different assistants, and then started, realizing this is really hard, not having my sister there. It was every girl in my eyes was like, it wasn't my sister. It wasn't, it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. But then eventually she came back. She had a rough time there and stuff. Then we started to get more. I landed the contract. Just trying to think now. We did a couple of theatres. I know that for sure. It was the theatres what turned it around for us, really, because I felt pressure. We were doing like variety shows, yeah. So people would ask us, but I felt pressure to up my game, and I was like, well, I need 2 girl props, and I need and I need this, and obviously I was gigging with the show, so I was getting money in from the holiday parks, and then I was having a little kitty, and then I was building it up, and then I would, go online, find whatever, buy it. This was at this point, I wasn't really designing anything at this point. I was still buying off the shelf, and then I started creating this act, and then all of a sudden there was 2 girls in the act and me or whatever. And then again, it just went up and up. But it wasn't till I reckon about 2016, 2017, we decided to do a Christmas magic and illusion show for theatres and for corporates and stuff like that. And then I put some money into it, and then I started to then design. I'd say now I reckon I was designing about 2015. I started designing stuff. I reckon 2015 I started creating stuff, but then I was realizing, God, it's expensive to make something bespoke. I was like, how much? So I designed all this stuff, but I couldn't pay, not straight off. I really had to save, and get just one thing, and because it was so much money. Like you said, close-up trick, 20 quid, 30 quid, whatever. We're talking thousands of pounds just for a bespoke illusion. And I was just like, how am I gonna? But anyway, kept gigging and working. and we just kept going. And it, you know, my dad used to drive me and Emily around. You know, he was our driver. Then they got one of the staff from the holiday park to drive the vans and stuff, because I couldn't drive the vans. And then he was like a roadie and stuff to help, which also helped. You know, it wasn't just down to me. He was the, you know, one of the roadies. He would help with all the kit. And that's why I tour. I think, yeah, it's just, I tour with a roadie no matter. I always have one minimum of one crew with me, because of the size of the kit. But anyway, then yeah, then I started designing, and it was the Christmas show. We went full out. I saved all this money up, and I was like, right. And we got like Dakota chairs, and, you know, like some nice kit. And then we got a promo together of us in a proper theatre. Boom. It looked brilliant. And then the following year, I think I got a role at Barbican Theatre, doing 2 shows a week there. And again, these props, then I could put them into the theatre, and then, you know, develop it and so forth. Then the following year we did the same. Then I bought more, and we you know, and then it just started to grow. And now it's just out of control, because I was then at a point where I was able to afford to buy props what I designed, and then it becomes a it's like a I nearly said fetish then, but yeah, what's the word? Like an addiction. Sorry,
an addiction. Yeah,
an addiction.
Sort of thing.
But it is an addiction, and when you design it, it's an addiction, because you're like, this is mine, you know. And you go out and they're applauding you. They're not applauding something, you know, whoever, you know, they're applauding you because this is, you know, it's your baby, it's your, you know. Not all the time you have to design stuff from scratch. You can just get a classic and turn it on its head, and just, you know, like, just make it your own. It doesn't have to be, you know, completely bespoke. But yeah, it's funny. I just started to, I guess, just get more and more stuff as I got more and more gigs, because the publicity and the promos and stuff I got off those couple of little things.
And that was like that. I imagine there was momentum. You were getting better gigs because of the promo, which meant that you got more money for more illusions, better gigs.
Exactly.
So
it was when the better gigs started coming in, because then you could really, you know.
So the question I've got to ask yourself is, the question I've got to ask you is this. You've now got to like 2017. You've put yourself into a situation where you can design your own stuff, which almost no other illusion act can do. They have to go to an illusion builder. People who are watching this aren't illusionists. I don't think will ever understand how big a deal that is when you're able to design and build your own illusions. That's incredible. Okay, so you've put yourself into that position. Your profile has massively raised. All of the issues with being an illusionist have gone away. You know, you've got multiple girls. That's always a bone of contention. What happens if, you know, you've got multiple assistants in your show. You've got a big crew. You've got your own vans. You've got your own vehicles. You've got your own warehouse. It is a big deal. You can literally go the world and pick an act, and you got so much that. Why do you then take the risk of going on Britain's Got Talent? Because it is a risk.
Massive
risk. It's a risk for somebody like you, and I'll tell you for why.
Yeah.
You have an amazing profile. You have clients that come back to you again and again and again and say, Alex, let me give you this big truckload of money to bring your illusion act and entertain our people. Yeah. For you to go on Britain's Got Talent, and you know as well as me, with live shows, things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Why would you know, if something goes wrong, you could now in hindsight, having seen your audition, it ain't play out like that. You know, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah. But I need to know when you're all, because most people go on BGT because they're wanting to get a leg up to that next step in their career. It's arguable that, you know, you already where you are going into the program, you are already where most people would aim to be after being on BGT. So where did the BGT come from? Why the risk, and how long has this been in the planning for?
It's funny because, yeah, okay, we do the theatres and stuff like that, but we don't do full UK tours because you just can't take that risk, because we are not a household name for people to just go. So what we did was we picked a couple of little theatres and we started to build that up, and build a base there, and that's what we've always done since 2017 or whatever. Done the same kind of areas, and every now and then pick a new. I would never take the risk of doing a full-fledged tour without obviously a supporting cast, because that's one of the reasons, just to help the name a little bit, just to give us a bit of a boost on that, because I'm very lucky, because the show's ready. I've got a theatre show, can just go out, it can just go. I'm very lucky where people, they don't have that half the time when they go on these BGT, and we're very lucky to already have that. I know that, but for me, I have always wanted to do it, but deep down, but then part of me has always said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to take this. I don't want to do it. And from many phone calls to very many conversations, it was 4 years ago we discussed about this. It was about 4 years ago, and it wasn't until we got the idea. I think the idea helped me go, I'm ready to take this risk. I'm ready to, to put everything I've worked for on the line. Because that's, you do that, anything could happen. Anything could happen. And we were just so blessed on the day and how it went, because I trusted my team. I trusted everybody. I trusted, I had to trust them. But it was a strange conversation to have with my wife, of going, do you know what, we could literally, everything I've worked for, it could be down the drain. Like we could really damage but if you ride the wave right, and if you do it right, and I had the courage and the confidence to go, actually, no, we're good at what we do, we can do this. And it was the idea, it was the, but to what we want to get out, what we wanted to get out of Britain's Got Talent, it is, yes, okay, having a bit of a name, but to perform, at the Palladium, I've never done that before. That was a tick of the box. That's a great achievement. And it's just about opening those. You never know, those few little doors what will open. If it, those doors what haven't opened before, you've never seen them before, and they open, you go, well, if it wasn't for that, and I think going back to keep it in the family, that helped Matrix, because that did open a couple of doors to get it on track to do what we did, because we had the ITV tag, we had the ITV quote, we had the Bradley Walsh quote, we had all these great marketing tools, and I think that's part of the reason, and like, we don't know what the result will be if we're into the semis. We have no idea. Yet we've been told nothing, but the prospects of actually performing at the Royal Variety, that could happen. That could happen. We got the 4 yeses. That could happen. I mean,
what? Not 4 yeses, but I mean, I have to say to you, the act was incredible. It was incredible. If people haven't seen it, they need to check it out on YouTube. It was incredible. It was the same act that you delivered at Blackpool, I believe.
Yeah.
You at Blackpool, and obviously I saw the BGT thing. I love the phone thing. I love everything. I love everything about it. And here's the thing with your act. I think there's a certain extra risk going on Britain's Got Talent as an illusionist, because unless you're very careful, it can come across as old hat, because illusions have been around for years. And you could have an illusion act go on there and come across as a very cliched, hackney type of act. And you didn't. You came across as cutting edge, modern, like up to date, spectacular. You know, they always talk about, hey, we want big on this stage. This stage is to prep. You gave them big and then some. But you not just gave them big, you gave them big, but you gave them well produced. You gave them just an exceptional performance that painted illusion acts. Every single illusion act in the UK should be saying thank you to you, because you have portrayed illusion acts in such a good light with that performance on that show. Seriously good.
Bless you. No, well, it's just about getting that right formula, you know. It's the right formula. If you get the right formula, then you're on to a winner. And the way I've always looked at Matrix is I don't go out there in leather jackets and leather jeans, whatever. I go out in a suit, and that's who I am, and that's who I'll always be. And it's that classic touch, but with the modern touch. And that's what, you know, it's modern, but it's classic, you know, old school, but it's getting the right formula. And that's what I've worked on ever since I created this show, is just finding my own, and you know, finding the way. And that's what we did. And it's about having the right team. We had the right team, but I had the right team around me. I mean, you know, Guy Barrett builds, obviously I designed, you know, all the stuff, but Guy Barrett builds everything for me. We're a very good team.
Illusion builder I've ever met.
The two of us, like, you know, if you want something heavy, go to him. Yeah. But bless him. He builds them like tanks. So, you know, I everything I've had from him is like a tank, you know. It's like yeah, we were a great team. We got the phone and stuff, the concepts and everything was done years and years ago for that, and it's just been sitting there. And then we finally I didn't receive that. I think it was 4 days before the record, so we had 3 days with it, and that was it with that prop. And then we just went out and just, you know,
but that shows that your experience as an illusionist and your ability and the team that you have around you, because, you know, speaking as somebody who's done illusions for years, the thought about going on national television with a prop that's massive, that I've never actually even worked in a gigging situation on a stage, like, oh my God, like there's so many, again, people who are watching this that haven't done illusions won't know, but there are so many things that can go wrong if you've never worked an act before. Like, right down from, I remember doing a split press once when I first started, and I had it on a rolling stage, and I just walked forward and the thing went right down into the pit and smashed into like 1,000 pieces. Like, there's so many different things that you just like, yeah. And I almost had the girl in it. That would have been even worse. But there's like the amount of stuff that can go wrong, man. And for you, you've got balls the size of grapefruits to take a prop that you've never used before and go out on national TV where you know you're going to be judged, knowing that your career is kind of.
I was on a ship, and we were supposed to be docking. So we recorded it on the 25th of January. And I was supposed to be docking the 19th, and I was supposed to have the phone way before then, but there was delays and building delays, you know, material delays and so forth. So
you never normally get delayed when you're dealing with Guy Barrett. It's normally
love you, Guy. Yeah, so then you know, the 19th was when the phone was being picked up from Blackpool, and I was getting back on the 19th. So in the evening we would then, so we had what, 19th, so the 25th, right? So I thought, okay, we got a okay amount of time. I'd like to add more with it, but then my ship couldn't dock. So then I was stuck on the ship, and then I didn't get back till the 21st, right? Late in the evening. So I literally had, I think, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, but the 24th we were going to London. We were traveling to London. So then we literally, I had the team here, and it was like go, 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 and I'm not telling you, it wasn't a smooth ride, and we had issues, and we had, you know, I spent half an hour teaching them how to get the brakes right on a prop. You know, I know that sounds bizarre. It would sound bizarre to any magician, close up, whatever. But if you haven't got those casters in the right position, you ain't going to be able to get. I mean, if you go and watch the audition after this, don't watch me, watch the crew, because you know the crew are in sync. They're in sync, and it's getting that choreography of the way the brakes lay, so they can break the props, and then they can unbreak them without going, oh crap, can't find it, getting down, whatever, because you've lost time. Then you've lost that time. You know, it's little things like that. And we had issues with mechanisms and curtains and cloths being a little bit too long, and little things like that. So I had a seamstress on I had her all set up whilst we were rehearsing. Then I had loads of us here, you know, so at the vet where we will rehearse, and we literally, she was sewing cloths, you know, things were getting ripped, you know, because we were working out the kinks, and I'm like, in literally 24 hours time, we're going to be performing this in front of, you know, on the Palladium. And it does take experience, and it does, take balls to be able to go, you know.
Well, let me ask you a question. And this has been an incredible interview, but I want to ask you two more questions before we finish. The first question is, you don't know if you're going to get through yet. Obviously, we haven't heard, you know, I mean, based on the fact that you got 4 yeses, obviously it's a distinct possibility, but nobody knows. Nobody knows for sure. Let's just play assumptions for a minute and assume that you are going to get through.
Yep.
How are you going to top that, man? Because that's big. Like, you know, you're already big. How are you going to go bigger than that? Like, what are you going to do? Bring an Arctic on stage? Like, I don't see how you're going to go bigger than that. I mean,
great idea.
Patent pending.
You know, I've got ideas, and I've had ideas of stuff I've never been able to do before, but this platform would give me it's the right platform to then give me the chance to actually do some stuff I've always wanted to do. And it's exciting to, you know, that there could be a possibility that could become a reality, you know. And if it does become a reality, you know, to show everybody, it would be it'd be pretty cool, you know. I have got something, pardon the pun, up my sleeve, and yes, I think I could top it, and it is hard. I did have a moment when we did it, when we come off, and we got the yeses, and I looked at it, I was like, how are we going to top it? How are we going to top it? But, you know, again, just it's about pushing yourself, and I am pushing myself.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yeah. But I love a challenge. I love risk. I'm not one for taking stuff off the shelf and just performing it, and just I don't do that. I'm not about that.
So as much as we both love the split press and we love Guy Barrett, you're not going to be rocking up into the semi-finals if that happens with a little split press and going, hey, we're going to be going big on this, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be, it's about doing something different. I mean, how do you do, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, how do you do something different? It's an open, isn't it?
But you've made a rod for your own back, Alex. And what I mean by that is you've got to carry on with the big stuff. You've got to carry on with the illusions. Like I remember a couple of years ago when Ben Hart went on, and he opened his audition with like big teleportation devices and all this stuff, and it was great. And then he came out in the semi-finals with a fucking egg, and it's like he can do that because he's Ben Hart, right? And he can go from doing big stuff to small stuff. Well, you wow, you're gonna have to go. Yeah,
there is, you have to keep the same formula, you know, and that's the thing. It's all about that formula. It's all about that structure. It's about you know, getting that right formula right. And once you've got that formula right, then you need to run with it. And I think now they've seen, you know, everybody's seen, they have a perception of Matrix now. It's big, it's grand, there's lots of people, it's bomb, 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 bomb. You've got to keep with that.
Yeah, if you walked out with a hanky and a thumb tip in the semi-final, that ain't gonna, it's not gonna be conducive. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. Wow. So this could be the year, obviously we don't know anything that's going on, but this could be the year that the illusionists reclaim the crown in the magic world. You know, I mean, you know, the close-up guys have been doing well on Britain's Got Talent for the last 5 years. Maybe it's time for the guys with the big stuff to
it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. It couldn't have gone better, you know. It really did go, you know, their comments and stuff, and David's comment of that, you know, reinventing quick change, and you know, it's just the comments and the way the audience reacted. And I wasn't expecting, you can see on my face on the footage, I wasn't expecting the response we did. And they literally jumped in the air. Everybody jumped. It wasn't just like a stand. It was jumped. And it was an incredible feeling. And it was just like, do you know what? All this hard work, all this money, you know, everything I've spent my life is worth it for that moment right there. And I can't tell you how good that felt. And my mum was in the audience. She had a stroke last year and nearly died, and she was there, and it just, I could see it, and it was just, it meant everything, and it was rewarding. And I was like, do you know what, whatever happens from this moment onwards, I'm so happy. And I was like, I did the right thing. We did the right thing. Yeah, I think anybody wanting to, you know, audition for Britain's Got Talent, you've got to have the right idea, and you've got to be behind it, and you've got to just go for it and don't look back. And we didn't look back, and we just went for it, and it paid off. So,
well, I for one am going to be a huge, massive advocate of you on your journey. You know, I really hope that you do incredibly well. It'd be amazing to see an illusion act win the whole thing. Really would.
Bless you, buddy. Bless you.
One last question. Final question.
Go on.
What's next? Let's just assume that you do incredibly well at Britain's Got Talent. Let's just assume that whatever you want to get out of that, you get out of it. Yeah. Whether that be whatever. What's next? Because you have done, and I say this a lot on these interviews, but it really, really, really does hold true with you, which is that you've done more in your career. How old are you now? Like, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. So you're not even 30, and you've done more in the first 3 decades of your life than most magicians have by the time they've finished their career. You know, I mean, if you could take most magicians and say at the end of your career, you could have done this up until the point you are right now, they would have gone, yeah, I'll have that and then some. That's incredible. And you're not even 30 and you've achieved all of that. But I also know you're a very ambitious guy. So what's left on your magical bucket list that you haven't hit? Is there anything left that you want to achieve that you haven't achieved yet?
Well, I've never done I've never done Vegas. Even if I just did one show in Vegas, I'd like to. That's everybody magicians, you know. So I would like to do that. I would like to tour tour the world in something like, say, the Illusionists or something like that. I would love to do that, and I'd love to turn up and not worry about, and there'd be, you know, worry about it'd be someone else's problem, you know, the crew, and I just turn up and I do my job, and I just come in and I do my job. Be part of a big team, like, say, like the Illusionists or something like that. Doing that would definitely be on the list of doing something like that for sure. But I haven't really thought about it. It's one of these things of, yes, I would like to do a few more TV shows, for sure. And, you know, yes, I would like to do a broader tour and so forth like that. I do love touring, and I always have done. I would love to do like a world tour or something like that, you know, like something crazy out there, you know. Play in, I don't know, Sydney in Australia, or do something crazy, like, you know, crazy like that. I would always love to have done like that. Yes, we do perform internationally and so forth, you know, a lot. We're all over the place, but actually having, say, your own, you know, I don't know, the big show, the big name and lights, kind of, that's always been a dream, I guess. But I don't know, I can be a bit, I don't know, humble, I don't know, in the way of, I just, as the doors open, I'll make a decision if I go through it or not. But I would, yeah, it's a good question, because we have done a lot. We've ticked a lot of boxes already.
I'm Skippy.
And yeah, and we have, and we're very lucky to have done that, and I'm very humble and thankful to have done that, for sure. But I want to continue to, you know, be able to, you know, perform in front of more and more people, and keep, you know, pushing the bar, keep inventing, and keep, you know, entertaining people, and yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? You know, it's what is the dream? What is the, you know, what is it? But I'm already living the dream. You know, I'm living the dream. I'm performing, you know, with my wife, my sister, you know, who gets to do that, you know, very lucky, you know, there are, you know, many partner teams and stuff, but to go through the process where we've gone through together, and to be able to have done it together is insane. So, you know, I'm sure there's going to be lots of other great opportunities coming up, which there's already stuff in the pipeline, which I can't talk about, unfortunately, right now, which is very exciting, which will tick a lot of boxes. So yeah, it's exciting, Craig. I'm a bit, you know, like, oh, what's going on? You know, it's insane. It's insane, and it's just all that hard work pulling off. You know, it's like, it's worth it. You know, it's all worth it now. Do you know what I mean?
I really do. And you know what, Alex, I support you on your journey 100%. Where can people connect with you? What's the social media handles? It's Matrix.
Yeah, Matrix Illusion. Spell it Matricks. Don't spell it with an X, otherwise you get a guy in a leather jacket and sunglasses. And that ain't me. So Matricks Illusion. So our website is matrixillusion.com or matrixmagic.com. Matrix was originally called Matrix Magic, but when we changed it around 2014 time. I missed that out, but yeah. So it is matrixmagic.com or matrixillusion.com, and then you'll find all the socials from there. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're now on TikTok. We don't use it a lot, but we will be using it more and more. So yeah, get us on the website. It's got all the theatre tours and the dates. We've got a residency as well in Cornwall, which is another great opportunity. So we're doing a residency in Cornwall every Monday from the 27th of June right through to the end of August, on Mondays, 2 shows a day. So that all the dates are on the website. If you're in Cornwall visiting, come and see the show. It's a little cabaret bar. It's very up close and personal. Doing illusions on that that close is very, very good, because people don't expect it to see it that close. So it's it's a great little venue, and that's our residency venue from June to the end of August.
Well, you know what? I want everyone to check you out. I want everyone to go and watch you perform. I want everyone to vote for you on BGT. I want everyone to leave a comment down below and let them know, let Alex know how awesome he is and how awesome his audition was. And you know what? I know how ambitious you are, and I don't need to wish you continued success, because I know whatever you choose to do, you're going to absolutely smash it, like you have right up until this point in your career. So Alex, thank you so much for coming on Magic TV.
No, thank you, Craig. Yeah, take it easy. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.